Good evening. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to come before you. I'm Liz Marshall, and I'm here to appeal the Coral Blossom project. And as I've told the city manager, I've never spoken at a city council meeting, and I've never gone to a planning meeting, and I've never had the need. But I'll say, as a wife and a daughter of U.S. Marines, I've lived a lot of different places in my life. And I'll have to say, Elk Grove city government takes the cake. So who are the Elk Grove city decision makers on this? Well, we have a mayor who abuses her power and is running unopposed. We have a city council member with a DUI and no honor to step down. We have one city council member who cries at city council meetings and one who posts himself in Barbie pajamas. The city manager can't be transparent, but I now realize that's his job. We have a city attorney and a planning board that neglect their duties to follow state law out of some misguided loyalty to the mayor. But let's not forget the unelected 6th city council member who gets preferential treatment and insider information. And my favorite, all those fine Elk Grove citizens in Old Town who show no shame in tossing this project for fear of their children, elderly, and businesses on us. Awesome people. All while the city proudly posts the $9.2 million it costs city taxpayers to oblige these Old Town folks. That is outrageous. And I have to say, I have zero confidence in city Elk Grove leaders. Now, to add insult to injury, you say Coral Blossom must be approved because otherwise you would be breaking fair housing laws. Well, isn't that something? Because those are the very laws you broke to move Oak Rose to Coral Blossom, which resulted in a $9 million lawsuit that got settled at city taxpayers' expense. Now that is rich in contempt to us. So Elk Grove had an obligation to the state to provide permanent supportive housing, but it didn't. So I realize that that is a touchy subject for all cities, but SB 35 was passed because cities like Elk Grove weren't fulfilling their obligation. More proof of poor city leadership. Exhilarant Housing came into town and purchased the Oak Grove Boulevard site, catching the city off guard, and then the games began. Short version, Exhilarant went for permits, and the city used every excuse it could come up with to deny the project, all in violation of state law. And then in July of 22, the mayor denied Oak Grove Apartments based on her bias and misinformation from Old Town residents. Elk Grove was sued for violating fair housing laws and SB 35, not only by Exhilarant, but by the state. So what's the city do? Stall, 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 trying to find a way out. In September of 23, city staff came back and recommended that the Oak Grove Apartments be approved. But instead of approving it, the city council and the mayor deferred any action. It is in the legal papers that the mayor and the city council were unable to stand up to the public who opposed the project, despite the city staff's approval and the city's written admission of legal liability. So while this was going on, the city acted in bad faith by trying to entice Exhilarant to other properties. There was the Bighorn Bruceville property, and then the even bigger Elk Grove-Florin. More bad leadership. Of course, Accelerant took the settlement that the mayor gave them. She gave them the moon. Not only did they get the $9.2 million, but there's nothing to show for it. Outrageous. And as if 67 units is unacceptable in Old Town, how come 81 units are being built in our neighborhood? The concession was given so the mayor could get out of the mess that she made with no consideration for our neighborhood. The settlement doesn't change the fact that Elk Grove violated state law. It doesn't change that the mayor was biased in her decision-making. Doesn't change her arbitrary decisions that cost the residents $9 million, and there's no accountability for her. None. Anybody else who lost or wasted $9.2 million gonna still have a job? Incredible. And all of this was done. All of this was done to save Old Town. Some people think Old Town could be the next Gaslight Emporium. Big dreams to go with the zoo. I'm going to San Diego next week, and I guarantee you I'm not gonna feel like I'm in Elk Grove. San Diego has so much more to offer, unfortunately, than Elk Grove. Beaches, sports, the Navy, college students. So Elk Grove, not so much. Elk Grove, Old Town is the past. Older people go to Old Town. Younger people don't go to Old Town. They go to Sacramento for the bars and the clubs, for sporting events and concerts, for shopping and fine dining. Planning Elk Grove's future through Old Town is a losing proposition. So Elk Grove is supposed to grow, maybe double in the next 10 to 20 years. Smart city development is crucial for success. I am sure you're all working hard, trying to get the job right, but obviously there's more work to be done. It is vital that city staff stand up and follow state law, no matter how much pressure they might be getting from outside sources. And while I don't know Lynn Wheat, I've seen her at some meetings, and I will tell you, she seems to really care about Elk Grove and really care about the developments that are going on here. And I believe she would be a much better unelected 6th city council member than the one you guys are all listening to. So the city attorney won't be upfront on what the city settled with the state between more lawyer fees and whatever Rob Bonta got, because we know he got something. I'm sure it's adding up. So Elk Grove residents should be angry, but who gets mad when they don't know what's going on? So it looks like I have some time to figure out my next destination. That's one of the great parts of living in the USA. There's always somewhere else to go. Life is too short to live in a city where city leadership doesn't respect all its residents. But all my neighbors don't have the same options that I do. Moving for some can cause some real extreme hardship. And I guess the collateral damage just doesn't seem to matter. So in closing, I'll say, shame on all of you for going along with the mayor's reckless behavior, and shame on the mayor of Elk Grove for failing Elk Grove residents. If you really care about Elk Grove, you should get out of the back rooms and shed a little sunshine on what you're doing. Mistakes are made, we all make them. But like I've always told my children, when you make a mistake, you go back and fix it. And that's what we need. We need this fixed, not just let her get away with whatever random choices and bias she decides to use. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Thank you.